addictions. And I talked about this yesterday, about how this compassion of recognition that we're not different from these other people. So really, for me, addiction comes down to, let me define addiction for you. I don't think anybody's going to argue with this definition. Addiction is manifested in any behavior that a person finds pleasure or relief in and therefore craves, but suffers negative consequences and doesn't give up despite negative consequences on themselves or the people around them. So that addiction then involves relief, pleasure in a short-term craving, long-term harm, inability to give it up. That's what an addiction is. And from that point of view, and notice I didn't say anything about drugs. It can be to anything, work, shopping, eating, pornography, self-cutting, bulimia, pornography, gambling, relationships, extreme sports, literally almost anything. So the addiction is not defined by the target behavior, but by the internal relationship to it. If it's number one. Number two, what I ask people when they come to me with an addiction issue, no matter what the addiction is, the question I ask them is not what's wrong with the addiction, because they already know what's wrong. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming to see me. I'm going to ask them what is right about the addiction. So let's just do an experiment here, I suggest. I've given you all this definition. I'm talking to all the listeners, participants here today. I've given you a definition of addiction that involves pleasure relief, short-term, and therefore craving, long-term harm, difficulty giving up. How many of you would recognize that one time or another you've had an addictive pattern in your life? Okay, just put your hands up if that's the case. Okay, all right, good. I'm going to ask you to put in the chat line not what was wrong with the addiction, not what you were addicted to or when, but simply what did you get from it that you liked in a short term? What did it offer you that you wanted? What was right about it? That's what I'm asking. Let's just see the answers. Okay, distraction, pleasure, numbing, rest, release, relief from my inner feelings, a sense of accomplishment, sleep, connection. Very good. Let's just stop here because I can't keep reading. Connection, pain relief, sense of comfort, sweetness, distraction from distressing experiences, ability to concentrate. These are all wonderful things, aren't they? Connection, sense of control, inner peace, stress relief, pain relief. These are wonderful things. Not only are they wonderful things, they are our birthright as human beings. In other words, the addict just wants to feel like a normal human being. So addiction is not a disease. It's not a mistake. It's not a bad choice. It's an attempt to solve the problem of pain, the problem of emotional distress, the problem of disconnection, the problem of lack of control, all of which are forms of emotional pain. So the first thing about addiction is not looking at a disease, genetic or otherwise. We're looking at a solution to a problem. And what is the problem? The problem is that of emotional pain. So my mantra on addiction is not why the addiction, but why the pain. And that then, Tammy, takes us to trauma. Because no matter who I've talked to, with what kind of addiction, whether it was substances or sex or gambling or whatever it was, there was always a traumatic imprint that actually caused the pain that the person was trying to escape. And I have never seen anybody's analysis so close to mine on this one as Dick's. So he'll articulate it in his own terms. But for me, the prime question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. And I just throw one more comment in here, and for maybe later on, not for right now, but invite a volunteer. Sometimes people say, but I had a really happy childhood and I still got addicted. And then usually it takes me 3 minutes to talk with that person and to find the pain that was still there in what they call their happy childhood. So if anybody on this call really believes they had a happy childhood,